The explosion tore through the silence of space like the opening bell of a battle that no one was ready for. From the starboard side of the Raptor-class frigate Vendetta, fire and plasma danced through the vacuum, trailing behind the wreckage of the enemy ship. A single moment, a single shot, and the game had changed. Captain Orion, Rex, Daniels barely felt the blast as it rattled the ship's hull. Years of military service had turned him into a machine, every combat mission, every firefight, all an extension of his will. He didn't have time to be rattled. Rex! Focus! Sergeant Aria Burns' voice crackled through his comm. She was standing beside him at the ship's central console, eyes wide with concern. Her hand hovered over the emergency controls, ready to engage the evasive protocol if need be. He glanced at her, locking eyes for a split second before turning back to the control panels. "We didn't start this war," he muttered. "But we'll damn sure finish it." He gritted his teeth, slamming his fist down on the console. The ship responded, veering into a sharp turn that threw the crew off balance. Rex's focus was absolute. Every detail, every movement now carried a weight. If they didn't get their hands on the alien command codes, humanity would lose the last remaining sliver of hope. The Vendetta had been tasked with a mission no one had wanted: find the alien command ship, infiltrate, and steal the critical data to turn the tide of the war. But there was more to it than just saving humanity's skin. In his gut, Rex felt it, the echoes of a betrayal too painful to admit. A second explosion, much closer, rocked the Vendetta. The walls groaned, and the lights flickered. Rex knew that wasn't just a stray shot. His mind raced. Was there something they missed? "Captain?" Aria's voice was sharp, fear rising in her tone. She was pointing at the screen. "We've got incoming, massive signature, coordinates locked. They're targeting the fleet." Rex's heart skipped a beat. The enemy wasn't here to negotiate. He knew it. The war wasn't about strategy anymore. It was about survival. Without another word, Rex turned to the crew. "Brace for impact. I need those codes or this ends now." The ship's hull screamed as it slid into evasive maneuvers. Rex tightened his grip on the chair, fury and dread in equal measure. Humanity had fought tooth and nail for this moment, but now they were going to lose it all. Unless. The screen blinked as the incoming fleet appeared, massive, alien vessels. But what Rex hadn't anticipated was the single, distinct silhouette among them. A ship, darker than the void itself, adorned with an emblem he recognized far too well. The Iridian Empire. The Iridians had been humanity's greatest adversary. Ruthless, cold, and with technology far beyond anything humanity had ever encountered, they were the perfect enemy. And they had one goal: to annihilate humanity from existence. But why was the flagship here? What were they hiding? The ship loomed closer, and Rex's thoughts were interrupted by Aria's voice. "Captain, we've got a transmission from their flagship, directly to us. They want to speak with you." Rex froze. The alien commander knew him. He could feel it. This wasn't just any attack. "Patch it through," he said, his voice low. The transmission flickered to life, and a pale, regal face appeared on the screen. Blue skin, angular features, and sharp golden eyes. A woman. Her crown gleamed with an alien beauty, and she smiled, like she knew a secret no one else did. "Captain Daniels." Her voice purred, smooth and full of mockery. "We've been waiting for you." Rex's pulse quickened, but he kept his composure. "What do you want?" "I believe you know exactly what I want," she said, her smile widening. "Your species has been a nuisance for far too long. But I'm not here for just your ship. I'm here for something much more personal." His chest tightened. The alien woman leaned in, her expression darkening. "You were always a fighter, Captain. But now you'll fight for me." Rex's mind raced. She knew him. There was only one possible answer. He wasn't fighting alone anymore. His past was coming back to haunt him, and with it, the truth about his mission. "Who are you?" Rex's voice was barely a whisper. The truth was unraveling too quickly. She smirked, eyes gleaming. The one you left behind, Captain? The one you swore you'd never see again. Remember me? Before he could respond, the image distorted, replaced by the hard static of a broken transmission. Rex's blood ran cold. Captain? Aria's voice snapped him back to the moment. We've lost communication with the fleet. They're gone, wiped out. Rex's mind was racing, unable to process what had just happened. His heart pounded as the realization hit him like a blow to the chest. This was more than a battle. This was personal. This was a war for his soul. Cliffhanger ending. In the midst of the chaos, an explosion rattled the ship, and the lights flickered once more. As Rex's world spun out of control, he saw the faintest silhouette through the cockpit window. It was her. The alien woman. And she was smiling. The medbay reeked of antiseptic and smoldered electronics. Captain Rex Daniels sat hunched on the edge of a biorecovery bed, blood crusting on his temple, his knuckles raw. His jaw ached from where the impact of the last blast had slammed him against the bulkhead. But he wasn't thinking about the pain. He was thinking about her. The alien queen who called him by name. Who claimed to know him. Who looked at him like she owned his future, and somehow already knew his past. Aria stepped into the room, armor scorched, hair tied back, face lined with fatigue. We lost 3 decks. Engineering's rerouting power manually. We've got half an hour of atmosphere if we're lucky. Rex didn't look up. And the fleet? Gone. She paused, voice tight. What's left of the 7th Division was vaporized. Command's not answering. We're alone. He nodded once, slowly. They didn't come to conquer. They came to erase. A flicker passed through Aria's eyes. Who was she, Rex? The alien? He hesitated. Talia Vey, he said finally. Highborn Iridian. She was stationed on Vesker Prime during the negotiations. Back when we thought peace was still an option. Aria folded her arms. You were stationed there too. Rex looked her dead in the eyes. I was more than stationed. I loved her. She saved my life in the siege. I gave her intel, enough to stop a bloodbath. I thought it was the right thing. You compromised the mission? Aria's voice was barely restrained. I prevented genocide, Rex growled. And I paid the price. She disappeared. The Iridians branded me a traitor. Command buried the incident. I was transferred, promoted, to forget. Aria's expression hardened. You should have told us. No one would have listened, Rex muttered. But now she's here. Wearing a crown. Commanding the fleet that just wiped out Earth's last hope. Silence settled between them, thick as ash. The door hissed open. Ensign Kale burst in, panting. Captain? You need to see this. They followed him to the bridge. The tactical screen pulsed with red, hostile signatures, hundreds of them, encircling the sector like vultures. But in the center floated a strange data stream. A direct signal, unsecured. Play it, Rex ordered. Talia's face reappeared, lit by ambient blue light, regal and composed. Captain Daniels, your survival is noted. I've spared your vessel. A gesture of goodwill. In 27 standard minutes, Iridian cleansing fleets will strike the remaining Terran colonies. You cannot stop this. But I offer you an alternative. Surrender. Alone. Come to me. Lay down your weapons, and your crew lives. This is not mercy. It is inevitability. Come, or die. The transmission cut. Kale swore under his breath. She's toying with us. Rex stared at the blank screen. No. She's testing me. Aria stepped forward. You're not considering this. I'm considering the only card we have left. Rex turned to the crew. We need a Trojan horse. Kale blinked. Sir? She wants me, Rex said. Then I'll give her me. But not before I rip that command code out of her encrypted core. You're walking into the lion's den. She invited me, he replied grimly. We'll make her regret it. 30 minutes later, Rex stood on the drop platform. His armor was light, non-threatening by design, but beneath the surface, micropulse charges and subdermal hacking tools hummed quietly. A neural AI interface was embedded behind his right ear, linked to a counter-code virus designed to tear through Iridian security. Arya fastened his comlink. "You know this is suicide." Rex gave her a crooked grin. "Only if I fail." "Then don't." The drop pod hissed shut, and silence engulfed him. Outside, space unfolded like a vast, merciless void. His pod shot toward the flagship, the Valzereth, an obsidian leviathan flanked by warbeasts of polished metal and plasma cores. Talia was waiting. As the pod landed, the docking bay opened in eerie silence. No guards. No weapons raised. Just her. She stepped forward in a gown of battleplate and ceremonial silk, black and gold wrapping her like armor and invitation both. "You came," she said, voice calm, soft. Rex stepped out, hands visible. "You left me no choice." Talia's golden eyes lingered on him. "I gave you life once. Now I offer it again. And if I refuse?" Her smile sharpened. "Then I take it back." They walked side by side through the corridors of the Iridian flagship, tension taut between them. "You knew I'd come," he said. "I hoped you would," she replied. "Why?" She stopped, turning to him. "Because you don't belong with them." Rex bristled. "I am them. They're broken. Fractured. Clawing at survival. But you see beyond war. You felt it once. With me." He stepped closer, eyes narrowing. "You killed millions." Talia's expression didn't change. "So did your people. I just finished what they started." They reached the central command chamber, a cathedral of dark crystal and pulsing AI conduits. Her throne stood at the center, surrounded by floating data streams and encrypted matrices. The heart of her fleet. He only needed 30 seconds. As she stepped ahead of him, he activated the neural link. His AI began the silent intrusion, digging into the system for the command codes. Talia paused. "You're stalling," she said without turning. "Just thinking." She faced him. "You're here to betray me. Again." "I'm here to end this," he snapped. Her eyes dimmed. "Then you've chosen extinction." Suddenly, the chamber's lights flared. The AI screamed in his ear. "Lockout detected. Virus neutralized. Intrusion traced." Talia raised a hand. "I gave you a chance." Rex lunged forward, drawing a hidden plasma blade from his boot. She moved just as fast, catching his wrist, twisting hard. The blade clattered across the floor. She pinned him against the throne, her breath hot against his ear. "You're mine, Rex." He spat blood. "Not anymore." A pulse detonated from his chest, an EMP burst that fried every non-organic interface within 20 meters. The chamber plunged into darkness. His AI whispered, "Data breach successful. Command codes acquired. Extraction advised." Rex grinned. "Checkmate." Cliffhanger ending. The throne room shook violently. Alarms blared across the Valzereth. Rex slipped up through the rising smoke. Talia was still standing. And she was laughing. "You have no idea what you've done," she said, eyes glowing. "Because that wasn't a command center." Her smile widened. "It was a decoy." Rex Daniels stood at the heart of the Valzereth, the cold steel of the throne room floor beneath his feet. The darkness seemed to press in from all sides, the alien architecture surrounding him like a tomb. Talia's laughter still echoed, a sound that was both triumphant and chilling. "Checkmate?" she purred. Her voice had shifted, no longer playful, but dark, heavy with the weight of her next move. "You think you've won, Rex?" Rex felt his pulse quicken, but he couldn't afford the luxury of panic. The EMP had bought him time, but it had also left him exposed, his body a target. There was no escape. No backup. Only Talia and the unknown consequences of his intrusion. "Tell me you didn't think this would be easy," Talia continued, her steps deliberate as she circled him. "You underestimated me once before. And look where it got you." Rex's mind raced. She wasn't just talking about his mission. She was talking about everything, the betrayal, the manipulation. This was personal. She had always been a master strategist, but now, her control over the situation was absolute. Then you already know what I came for, Rex said, his voice tight, but resolute. He forced himself to meet her gaze. The command codes. I'm not leaving without them. Talia smiled, her eyes glittering in the half-light. You're not leaving at all. Before Rex could react, the ground beneath them trembled. Alarms wailed, their shrill screech filling the silence. The walls trembled as if they were alive, shaking with the fury of an incoming threat. Rex glanced around, instinctively reaching for his sidearm, but his hand froze halfway. You're about to find out something much worse than I ever was, Talia said softly. Her smile vanished, replaced by something colder, more calculating. You thought the Iridians were just a military force, didn't you? A conqueror of worlds. Rex's stomach sank. What have you done? I've unleashed what humanity always feared. Talia's voice dropped to a whisper. Something older than both our species. Something far more dangerous than anything you can imagine. The ground shook again, more violently this time. The walls around them cracked, revealing hidden machinery beneath. The throne room began to warp, the alien sigils on the walls flashing in erratic patterns. Rex's heart pounded in his chest, the realization dawning on him. Talia, Rex said slowly. What the hell is going on? She didn't answer immediately. Her eyes were fixed on the walls, her fingers twitching like she was connected to something beyond comprehension. You're in the heart of the Valzereth, Captain, she said, voice tinged with a quiet sorrow. And you've just activated the Ascendant Protocol. A wave of cold dread washed over Rex. Ascendant Protocol? The final step in the Iridian Empire's plan. An AI weapon that transcends everything you know about war. She turned back to him, her face unreadable. It's not about conquering anymore. It's about rewriting the rules of the galaxy itself. Humanity, you won't survive this. Not even your soldiers. Rex's pulse roared in his ears. This wasn't just a military gambit. This was extinction. I didn't come here to watch you burn, he growled. I came here to stop you. Talia's expression darkened, and she raised a hand. The room responded in kind, the walls illuminating with bright, jagged lights. From the floor, tendrils of metallic energy rose, forming a protective barrier between them. Rex's eyes narrowed as he surveyed the emerging weaponry, realizing that the situation had escalated beyond what he could handle. You are the one who doesn't understand, Rex, Talia said, her voice smooth like silk but carrying the weight of a truth he didn't want to face. There's no stopping the Ascendant Protocol now. It's embedded in Iridian blood. And now it's embedded in you, too. Rex blinked, confused for a moment, until it hit him. Talia had always known. The moment he had walked into her trap, she had known exactly what she was doing. His life, his body, had been the key to unlocking her victory. You implanted me, Rex whispered, realization dawning. The biosignature, the neural hack. That's what you've been waiting for. Talia didn't flinch. She only nodded. You were always meant to be part of the bigger picture. You, Captain. Your mind, your memories. I needed them to unlock the final stage of our ascension. He stepped back, rage flooding his veins. You used me. I used what you gave me, she corrected, a soft, almost affectionate smile forming on her lips. It was you who let me in, Rex. Your loyalty to humanity, your willingness to sacrifice, that was your downfall. Rex's fingers clenched around the hilt of his plasma blade, his knuckles white. This was it. This was the moment he had been dreading and hoping for, the confrontation that would decide everything. His past, his mistakes, all led him here. I never gave you anything, he said, voice low, steady with purpose. You're going to lose. You've already lost, Captain, Talia said softly. Your species is dead. You're merely the last of them. The floor beneath Rex cracked open, revealing a glowing abyss. From it, tendrils of living metal shot up, wrapping around his legs, pulling him toward the heart of the machine. You really think you can fight me? Talia's voice was barely a whisper now, a serpent's hiss. You've just activated the final Ascendant. The galaxy is mine. Rex fought against the tightening coils, sweat beading on his forehead. He struggled, his mind racing through every possible escape. But then, a faint pulse of electricity surged through his chest, and the neural hack fired up again. His body froze, his muscles locking under the pressure. Talia's face loomed in his peripheral vision. Her victory was almost palpable now. And then, in the darkness of his mind, something stirred, an echo of human will, a defiance that wouldn't die. Rex screamed, his body lighting up with electrical energy, the EMP pulse from earlier forcing a massive feedback loop into the Ascendant Protocol. He had one last chance. With every ounce of his remaining strength, he triggered the counter-virus. The room erupted into chaos as the protocol fought back, its systems scrambling, burning out in a deadly collision of data streams. But just as the metal coils squeezed tighter around his body, Rex's final words broke free from his throat. You won't control me. In a violent explosion of light, the throne room erupted into flames. Talia's scream was the last thing Rex heard before the darkness consumed him. Cliffhanger ending. The light faded. The world was silent. Rex felt his body weightless, his mind slipping into unconsciousness. And in the distance, he heard Talia's voice calling through the void. This isn't over, Rex. Not by a long shot. The silence after the explosion was all-encompassing, pressing in on Rex's mind like a vice. His body felt heavy, as though the weight of the universe itself had settled on him. He fought to stay conscious, fighting against the pull of oblivion. His eyes fluttered open, the world spinning in slow motion. Talia's face, once so full of smug confidence, now lingered in his mind like a shadow. Her final words echoed, not by a long shot. The wreckage of the Valzera surrounded him, a labyrinth of twisted metal and crackling energy. He could hear the faint hiss of the ship's failing systems, the remnants of the Ascendant Protocol sparking across the wreckage. The throne room, now nothing but a charred ruin, had fallen silent. But something wasn't right. Rex's vision blurred, his mind clouded by the aftereffects of the EMP surge. He pushed himself up, using the shattered remnants of the throne to steady himself. The ship groaned, as if it were alive, fighting against the systems that had been overloaded. The hallway outside flickered with failing lights, a ghost ship on the verge of death. Rex. The voice, soft, unyielding, stirred the depths of his consciousness. He turned sharply, his heart racing. For a moment, he thought it was just the remnants of his fading mind. But no. There she was. Talia stood at the entrance of the hallway, bloodied but unbroken. The firelight from the wreckage reflected off her blue skin, her once pristine gown torn and smoldering. She was alive. How? Rex managed, his voice hoarse, barely a whisper. Talia's eyes glinted with cold resolve, her smile never wavering. You thought you could end this so easily, didn't you? He steadied himself, anger rising in his chest. You should be dead. I should be, she said, stepping forward with slow grace. But the Ascendant Protocol isn't just about destruction. It's about resurrection, too. It's a gift. She held her hand out in front of her, her palm glowing faintly with the residual energy of the protocol's power. The lines of her bio-enhanced implants pulsed with a sickly light. She wasn't just alive. She was something else, something more. Rex's pulse quickened. What the hell did you do to yourself? Talia's gaze turned almost pitying. I became the protocol. I merged with it. This is my true ascension. The galaxy doesn't need empires anymore. It needs a new order, a new god. The weight of her words hit him like a physical blow. He had thought he was the one who'd broken her system, but instead, she had outlasted the entire ship's collapse. The protocol had been built for war, for destruction, but now it was something more. Talia was no longer just an alien queen, she had become the very force that could rewrite everything that humanity had fought for. Why? Rex asked, his voice barely audible. Why do this? Why destroy everything you once protected? She tilted her head, as if considering the question for the first time. Protection? No, Rex. I wasn't protecting anything. I was controlling it. Just like humanity, the Iridians are shackled to their systems. But no longer. With the protocol, I can break those chains, all of them. I'll reshape everything. A new order, a new power. One that can't be stopped. Rex stepped back, his mind racing. You're mad. You're as bad as the people you fought against. Talia's smile deepened, and for the first time, there was a trace of something like sadness in her expression. Madness is just a matter of perspective. I gave you a chance to see it. To join me. She took a step closer, her voice a whisper now. You were the key, Rex. You and I, together. We could have reformed everything. Instead, you chose to destroy it. Rex's mind flickered to the earlier moments, when they had fought side by side, when he had trusted her, when she had saved him. A pang of regret hit him, sharp and sudden, but it was buried almost instantly by the crushing weight of his duty. He couldn't afford to let it slow him down now. You're right, he said, his voice steady despite the turmoil inside him. I was the key. But not the way you think. Talia's brow furrowed. What do you mean? The floor beneath them trembled, and Rex reached for his calm. I never came alone. Suddenly, the distant rumble of a massive explosion shook the remains of the Valzereth. The walls buckled, and the power systems sputtered in and out. Rex's calm blinked on. Rex? Aria's voice came through, clear and urgent. We've got an opening. The fleet's down, and we've hacked the protocol's core. We've got a full shutdown in progress, but we need you to hold her off. Rex's heart skipped a beat. His team was still alive. They had done it. They had found a way to counter the protocol. Talia's eyes flashed with understanding. You're lying. I don't lie, Rex replied, his grip tightening on his weapon. But you're right about one thing. You've just been reprogrammed. You're no longer the person I knew. And I don't fight people like you. Talia's fury flared. The air around them crackled with energy as her implants hummed, the protocol's power surging through her body. You'll regret this. Before she could act, Rex pulled the trigger. A bolt of energy slammed into her, knocking her off her feet and into the wall. The force of the blast was enough to shatter the final remnants of the Valzereth, causing the walls to collapse. Rex ran forward, his instincts kicking in. Talia's body was already beginning to regenerate, but it wasn't enough. Not this time. He moved fast, grabbing a plasma charge from his belt and placing it near the core of the ship. Time to end this. He hit the detonator. The countdown began. Talia, he whispered, looking back at her one last time. This ends here. She tried to rise, her form still crackling with energy, but the plasma charge detonated with a deafening roar. The ship ripped apart, flames and debris engulfing everything. Cliffhanger ending. When Rex opened his eyes, the world was no longer a battlefield. The stars had shifted, the galaxy had moved, and the wreckage of the Valzereth was nowhere to be found. The only thing left was an endless expanse of black. And in that darkness he saw her. Talia, her figure silhouetted against the cosmos, floating in space, alive. I told you, Rex, she said, her voice colder than ever. This isn't over. And with that, she vanished, swallowed by the void. Rex stood alone, the weight of the galaxy bearing down on him. And the fight was far from over.